Remember that the CS for Health, Cleophas Mailu, is currently before the National Assembly, the Health Committee of the National Assembly. Let's just cross over there and listen in.
That impression is not the correct one. This was initiated by the internal auditor. Not that it is wrong, but it's a document which we need to document that. Secondly, this document was submitted to my office on 29th, and yet it came out middle October is when the document became public. One may wonder, where was the document? Of course, there are two reasons. One, the internal auditor was supposed to clarify these issues with the auditees, which will enable me to engage with the leadership in the ministry. But secondly, I want to put to this committee that when the report was submitted to me, either 29th or 30th, on 31st, I traveled to Cape Town, came back on 3rd, and on 4th, I traveled to Cuba, came back on 8th, and on 14th, I traveled to Montreal, up to 17th. 18th, I went to UN General Assembly, up to 26th. That is a whole month of September, which I was away. Therefore, there was no way we were going to interact with the internal auditor, and therefore, I want to clarify the impression that report was sitting without being actioned. That is very important to me for that to be realized. Now, that document, I recall, is on 20th, when we started receiving SMS. I received an SMS from a reporter, and I forwarded that to my principal secretary, which was a Thursday during Mashujaa Day. And the Friday we came back, the reporter was seeking comments on a document which we had not seen. And on 26th, that is when the document became public, when one of the section of the media reported on that document. So that is how we found ourselves with a document which is in public domain, which was meant for internal consumption, which was not complete. But irrespective of that, we did respond on 27th. All the audit queries were responded to by management after the fact. And these documents were submitted to the internal auditor on 27th, the responses, in an effort to try and still complete the audit cycle. I'm afraid to tell this committee, up to today, the head of internal audit has not been able to give us a final report based on our own responses. But of course, we know the circumstances under which we are dealing with this report. That having been said, as a ministry, we moved forward to be able to engage the public and the country in terms of what has happened. And on 26th, we issued a press release assuring the public and any concerned party that we shall deal with the matter and see what we can do in respect to that document. That press release...
We have a point of order from Dr. Pukose.
Yes.
Thank you, CS. I wouldn't want to interrupt your presentation, yes, but it would be good when you refer to dates, you refer to it complete dates, because when you say 26th,
okay,
it should be 26th of October, okay, of this year.
Thank you.
So that for record purposes. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So on 26th October, when the document became public in the afternoon, we issued a press release on that particular issue and assured the public what we shall be doing. I can share that press release with this committee so that they can see the contents of that press statement. And at the same time, as I said, on 27th, we responded to the internal auditor to be able to consider the responses of the management to finalize his report. Sorry, again, I'm using 27th October to 2016. And therefore, thereafter, as a ministry, we have engaged with the public and the members of the media on what we have done. And on 29th, Friday, October 2016, we issued a press statement which was live, a conference in fact, and they stated some facts which were in our knowledge about that document which had been leaked. And again on 30th October 2016, we also issued another press conference giving further details on what we have done as a ministry to communicate with the public and Kenyans on the issues raised there and how we see them as a ministry. Those documents, I hope they were shared by the principal secretary, the team which was here earlier, and if not, we can be able to share with you this morning so that you can examine the contents of that press release. And I want to say that internal audit is a normal function in any institution, including public institutions. It is a value addition function. It's supposed to assist management to, one, improve the systems which they have, and two, to ensure that we do operate within regulations and the law. That is what internal audit is. And therefore, the value addition of an audit, that is why we are concerned that this document, which was supposed to enrich us, not to leak to the public before we could do that. Not that the facts, we wanted to keep them away from the public. No, I think the cycle to be conducted. And we have looked at internal audit from that perspective. So far, as a ministry, we have provided a comprehensive report, which I believe was shared with this committee, which our last report is dated 31st October 2016, which distills the facts the way we saw them as a ministry, and the team in the ministry responded to those issues. And I want to believe the committee is able to interact with that document, and if there are gaps which are not fully answered or which were not explained by the earlier team adequately, we shall be glad to provide more details or to go back and interrogate ourselves to be able to provide those details. I think to be able to complete this audit, we have engaged the National Treasury, the Internal Audit Department, and last Friday we were given a team of officers who are working with us to be able to complete that audit cycle so that we do not leave a document which is not complete, because audit queries must be responded. And that is important for us, and it is our expectation early next week we'll be able to get this report, which will complete the loop of internal audit. As I know, the team is out in the field trying to validate and authenticate and follow some of the issues which are raised in that document. Secondly, the other agencies of government have come in, Ethics and Corruption Commission have been in the ministry since the 4th. We have provided them with the documents which we have, and they are investigating this matter. I want also to say the Kenya National Audit Office, they are with us in the ministry conducting their audit. But as I said, I want to qualify the presence of the external auditor, that is Kenao, because they had already written to us before this for their routine audit of the ministry, and they were to come the following Monday. So they are combining all this, and we have provided them with the documents to be able to audit this document as they do their final audit of the ministry. So where are we as a ministry? At the moment, we are awaiting the outcome of those two bodies audit, three actually aspects of audit. One is the Kenya National Audit Office, the Ethics and the Corruption Commission, and also the team from the National Treasury. And it is our view that especially the National Treasury audit, we should be able to share that document with you, the committees of the National Assembly, and also to share with the members of the public. Let me also say that during the same period, and I saw in the previous questions which were responded to by my team during their last visit, Kenyatta National Hospital was audited during the same period, and these are audits which are meant to follow how state corporations or SAGAs utilize grants which they are given by the parent ministries. And in June, I did write a letter to these SAGAs to facilitate the internal audit department to be able to audit that. So far, it's only Kenyatta which had progressed with an interim report, which Kenyatta National Hospital responded. The internal auditor in the ministry has provided Kenyatta with what we might call a final document, and therefore we are waiting for Kenyatta to react to that document, which we can make available to this committee or ensure the Kenyatta National Management Team and Board do present those documents to this committee, because there is an issue which was raised in that document which is of concern to this committee. And therefore, let me say that we look at this document in two ways. One, when we fully understand and we fully interrogate it, and as we have responded, if there are weaknesses within our system, we have to strengthen them. And if there are allegations which are not factual, then we have to deal with that matter together with the National Treasury, because internal audit is such an important function that it is expected that it improves the way we conduct business. And therefore, it is a good document, but unfortunately, we have a situation which we have to look at, which is that we are running after the facts when we should have been given that opportunity to do so. Madam Chair, I'll stop there, and then I be guided by you.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. I see that you are focused on the three issues that we addressed. I believe that they must have been shared by the team that was here. What motivated the Cabinet Secretary to institute an audit? What was the internal audit? When was it started? And when will the final report be released? And what concrete steps has the ministry taken since the alleged leakage of the report to the media? Honorable members, you have heard the submissions of our Cabinet Secretary, and I would like to open the floor for any questions that you may have. But before then, I would like to take note of the documents that we have from you and ask that the interim audit report of the year's procurement and payments, kindly give us the annexes, because what we have is just this. We only have the document but no annexes. And also on the same note, the document that was presented by the PS, it made reference to several documents, and I would like to ask that you give us the annexes by end of the day. It will help us to compile our report, and it will make our work easier. Honorable members, I would like to open the floor for any questions that you would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary. Our Honorable Dr. Pukose, the Honorable Hopio. Those two.
Thank you, Chair, and I want to thank the Cabinet Secretary for those responses. I just need a clarification on the issue of the internal auditor. His role in terms of voucher preparations, because when you are preparing vouchers, I thought before payments are made, the internal auditor is supposed to be part and parcel of the system. At what stage does he also become now to play the oversight role? At what stage? Because the same person, I think, is the same people who approve, who goes through the examination of the vouchers before they are paid.
And the next one, yes, Mash.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I wanted to ask the Principal Secretary if it is a normal practice that when internal audit reports are, reports are available, they are supposed to be handed over, or rather directed to the cabinet secretary or the principal secretary as the accounting officer, because we had here last time, Chair, that ordinarily the letter that we saw that was addressed to the cabinet secretary was supposed to be addressed to the principal secretary. Number two, Chair, last time we sat here, the principal secretary was asked if it was true that he had instigated the transfer of the auditor who handled this interim audit. And he denied vehemently and completely that he was never aware and has never known that such a thing happened. But, Madam Chair, I had the opportunity to watch their interaction with the Senate. And there, he actually admitted to having written a letter asking that the auditor that was involved in this matter be transferred and someone else be brought. And in his justification, he actually said that he wanted a more senior and a more qualified person to be posted to the ministry. Madam Chair, I wanted the principal secretary to...
But I direct the questions to go to the cabinet secretary.
Okay, please. It is to the ministry, no problem.
Because
whoever will answer. Madam Chair, just be patient. It doesn't matter. I've asked the team, the panel that is before us here, and it's led by the cabinet secretary. So he will be there to direct whoever is supposed to give that answer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, I see that we only have those two.
Yeah. I wanted to know what the truth is.
Cabinet secretary.
Thank you, Madam.
And if you feel you can't respond, you have a right to tell me that you cannot respond to. If you think that you can bounce the query to someone else, you feel free to do that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With regard to the first question, which the Vice Chair has asked about the internal auditor, maybe I will ask the Senior Accountant General in the Ministry to respond the role of the internal auditor. But we know that internal audit function in institutions has evolved to value addition, and this value addition is not examining vouchers, but to be able to examine the systems. So usually there is a role which they play, but on a day-to-day basis, every payment, in my view, does not pass through the internal audit department. But I will ask the senior accountant to be able to clarify that matter and about examination of vouchers. With regard to the internal audit, yes, the memo was written to me by the head of internal audit. Ordinarily, the internal audit reports to the cabinet secretary through the principal secretary. And therefore, when this memo was addressed to me, as I had explained earlier to these members, that is why I engaged the internal auditor to go and discuss these queries with the team, including the principal secretary, and for me to receive a final report, if I have to receive, not for my office to interrogate an interim report which my team have been kept blind from it. And therefore, that was the essence of telling the internal auditor, go and discuss with these members of my team, everybody, and in fact, if there are documents you are not getting, put it in writing to those officers, because I would want a full report which will make me interact with my team in the ministry, if need be, if it's not satisfied. Therefore, you are right, the internal auditor is supposed to report to the cabinet secretary through the principal secretary, but he chose to do so, and therefore that period which we had in between the submission of the report and also the time it became public, that was very important to me to be able to do that. If you look at the report, some items are saying verifications ongoing. If verification is ongoing, that is not a final report which in my own belief as Cabinet Secretary, I can be able to engage my team with on what is happening in the ministry. That is what I can say about that particular matter.
I thought you wanted the accountant to...
Yeah, I'll give
respond.
the opportunity to the Senior Accountant General to respond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to respond to the role of the internal audit as far as voucher processing is concerned. Some years back, they used to do what we call pre-auditing. That is when they used to look at the vouchers before we make payments. Even the impress warrants or claims which were supposed to be paid, they used to pre-audit. But some years later, this changed. I don't have the specific dates, but nowadays they don't do pre-auditing. They do post-audit. They come after all is done, we have paid, and then they look at our documents. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, you may make a comment on that.
Thank you, Chair. You know, Chair, one of the reasons why a committee will do investigations is for us to be able to put in measures that we think can help to even prevent corruption. And, Chair, I just want from the Auditor General to, at what stage was that changed? And do you think with the change of now them doing the post-auditing, that could be leading into the problems that we are facing? Because if they were part of the pre-auditing system, where they are able to pre-audit and make sure that everything is in order, that can assist us to even prevent corruption or prevent the loss of money.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to believe with what the member has just said. Pre-auditing used to assist, and many problems never used to arise. But now with the post-audit, this is where now they take all the documents that we have processed and paid. They do their own examination, post-examination, and if they find that there are issues that need to be addressed, that is where they come in to advise the management. Where we have gone out of our way, they advise and they tell us the measures to be taken to correct that anomaly if they come across it.
Honorable, I wanted to find out something. It is for all ministries. That is what happens. So it is not specific to health. Okay. Well, Honorable Dr. Pukose, I don't know whether you'd like to ask that question to her, because it's beyond...
Chair, sorry, colleagues. I'm just getting, Chair, one of the key issues that we are facing now all over the ministries is you have internal audit and you have external audit. The external auditors will come and look at the systems that you already have. And here you have an internal auditor who is employed by the ministry, who reports to day-to-day activities within the ministry. Why wouldn't this internal auditor on a day-to-day basis sit there and do pre-auditing to assist the ministry before they make payments? And it would be even important to know who is the one who came up with this issue of having the internal auditors to do pre-auditing, because that could be the cause of all these problems.
Well, I thought you wanted to say post.
Yes,
Posts. Okay, Honorable Osman.
Chair, I think I concur with my colleague there, because the purpose of internal auditors are people who should stop something when the vouchers reach them, so that these monies cannot be paid out. So for the purpose of record, and for us to know really that this is a policy across all the ministries, this might be the problem that the country is facing, because if an internal auditor sits there and the money has already gone, the horse has already bolted, and now we are coming back for him to cry and say he makes noise that the money has gone out or the money has been stolen, then there's mischief somewhere on the person who gave out that policy. So can we get the documents that really directed the ministries that the internal auditors should not have to check the vouchers before payment, that they should check after, which we think should have been the role of the Auditor General?
Well, your question is not responded to. Oh yeah, the last one. But I wanted to say this, that we have a record, the PS is on record on the third Thursday that he didn't write a letter, and I want, that is the information I want to keep, because that is the information we have on unanswered, unless you want to withdraw and you have an opportunity to do that. But we have a record of that. So as far as we are concerned as a committee, you did not write a letter. That is what we have. I've asked our secretariat to check for us. Yes.
Chair,
Please start by telling me what is out of order, Honorable Dr. Wachira.
Yes, I want to add my voice because I'm the one who raised the question that Honorable Pio is asking to the Cabinet Secretary. We are getting confused, Chair, at a point, because there are two investigations, one by the National Assembly Health Committee and another one by Senate. When the Principal Secretary was here, as you have truly said, he indicated that he never wrote a letter to transfer somebody. Now, we were watching the Senate proceeding yesterday. The Cabinet Secretary confirmed that there was such a letter. So, I don't know whether we will get different, we will get it from the same people. When they come to the National Assembly, a different version. When they go to the Senate, a different. We may be forced to put them on oath so that whatever they are saying can be taken as credible. Thank you.
A different one. Honorable members, I would like to say that the PS is here. It is not the responsibility of us as a committee to take information from another committee. So since the PS told us he did not write a letter and he has not changed, I would like us to stick to what he told us, that he did not write a letter, unless he withdraws because he is here, unless he wants to change. But as far as I'm concerned, the information we have is truthful, and he did not write a letter unless he wants to change. So I would like to pass the question to the Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to concur with what you have said. There are deliberations which took place here in this committee, and that is on the answered. And there are deliberations which took place in the Senate, and that, my belief, is on record. I would suggest that we uphold that position, and if need be, to be able to come back to any committee to clarify any issue, we shall do so. I think that will be the answer I would give.
Let me give an opportunity to the CS to finish, because we need to give him time to talk. If all of us, our hands are up before he speaks, then he will not tell us anything.
The reason why I'm saying that, and I don't want to go to deliberations of the Senate committee, the Principal Secretary gave his version within that committee and the understanding of other people, and therefore it is useful for us to be able to come back. We are here every other, we will come as we are called by this committee, and if there is need to reconcile or to correct any impression which is wrong, or for the Principal Secretary to do something, or the Cabinet Secretary will be able to do that.
Chair, maybe a rider to what
then we followed by Honorable Osman.
Just what Dr. Karani
and Dr. Nika,
what he has just said. Chair, we need to put this team on oath, because we cannot watch in our media record televisions. The letter was written, then from the CS, it was written, then from the PS, the letter was not written. Surely should we give even an audience where they are giving different fashions?
Honorable members, if you want us to discuss the letter, I would like to guide the committee this way. Do you want us now to discuss the letter, or you would like us to go to the subject?
Chair, just something. Chair.
The subject, right?
Chair, just something here.
Yes, honourable members, I would like to say that we have, come again? Honourable Osman, I'll give you a chance now, but I'm asking, would you like us now to discuss the letter, or you'd like us to go to the subject? We go to the subject. Because, honourable members, if we discuss the letter, we have the opinion of the CS, and I have not asked him here. He has just said what he may have said elsewhere. But I have this PS, and he is on record on what he has said. You have an opportunity to write the report, honourable members. We have an opportunity. We will be writing the report. May I request that we make progress, honourable members? I'll start with the Honourable Osman.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. I just want to know, for record purpose, who is this internal auditor? And what is his title? Because in some establishments, we have chief internal auditors. So you have been referring to internal auditor. We want to know who is this person by name, and we want also to know what is his really title in the ministry. The other question is, what is the strength of that unit in your ministry? How many are there? How many auditors are there in the ministry? The third question, Mr. CS, is it's in reports that we are getting that you said the report that is out is a raw report. The internal audit report that is out is a raw report. Can you tell us that you stand by the same stand, that report is still a preliminary report, is not a final report? And we want to know from you, have you done investigation to how did it reach the public, something that is not concluded?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me, first of all, revisit that issue and I would like the members of this committee to know clearly this issue of transfer. First of all, in the Senate committee and in any other forum, I never said I saw the letter which was purporting to have been written by the principal secretary for the transfer of the particular officer. Secondly, I received a copy of a letter from Treasury responding to the subject matter. That is very important. I received that letter on 19th October 2016, which was written on 17th October 2016 by the Principal Secretary, National Treasury, which was the subject was posting of internal auditors. That is the response I received, which is I can submit to you to examine. Therefore, any letter which came from my ministry, which is reference number MOH-FIN/1/42, volume 2, 300, dated 12th July 2016, I've not seen that letter. So that is the correspondence I have from the National Treasury, copied to me, which was written to the Principal Secretary. Now, that is what I stated, and that is what I can state.
Okay, please table the letter.
If I can table this letter, copy. And then the other question which is being asked, the head of internal audit is a principal internal auditor. That is his substantive title. The strength of the internal audit team is 10 members of staff whom he works with. I still stand by the report of 29th, which is in public domain, is still interim, and it has never been completed. And the internal auditor, irrespective of receiving our answers, he has not finalized that report. However, I didn't say that we have reached out to National Treasury, and they have given us staff who are trying to complete that audit so that it doesn't remain open. The question of investigating, I never investigated. It is in public domain, and I'm sure there are competent authorities to find out how this document found its way to the public domain or to the media. But we have responded to that.
Chair, I asked the question. I think the other ones I'm contented, but this final one, where you say that you have given, you have left to other entities.
That's the Health Cabinet Secretary Cleophas Mailu appearing before the Health Committee of the National Assembly. A lot of questions being asked there about the interim report that suggested that 3.1 billion shillings could have been lost in that ministry.